all volunteers. We work for a non-profit organization, Historic Fort Wayne. Our whole mission is dedicated just to work on the fort and do programming like this. Develop the public's knowledge of its own history here in Fort Wayne, Indiana. We're going to be firing the cannons. Just a moment. What's the size of this one? Is that a 3-pounder? Okay. Both of these cannons, well, they both look a little different, but they're both bored out 6-pounders. What is a 6-pounder? A 6-pound in this time period, they described the cannons by the weight of the cannonball that it threw. So there were 3-pounders, there were 6-pounders, there were 12-pounders, 24-pounders. They got bigger and bigger. This one is what's called a short 6. A little lighter. You might have a slightly different report when they fire it. Now this cannon is a 12-pound Napoleon. It's a Civil War gun, but it's bored out to a 6 for reenacting purposes, so it may sound somewhat similar. But it'll probably have a slightly deeper sound due to the length of the barrel. They typically fired cannonballs at this time period. They did have some exploding shells. They also would shoot grape shot, which was like a large shotgun. Shoot little musket balls. In naval warfare, they fired chain shot, bar shot, things to take rigging out of ships. Typically when they fired chain shot or bar shot, it left the barrel and started to pinwheel. And it would rake the decks of the ships. Now the Civil War gun crew is going to fire the short 6 first, I believe.
That's correct.
One shot of that. And then our 12-pound Napoleon, which we just got today from the Lincoln Foundation. This is one of the first shots. We've only fired it once before. Perfectly safe, but that's why we're all walking around with big grins on our faces. It's a very, very generous donation from the Lincoln Foundation and Fort Wayne Parks and Recreation. A gun like that typically goes for about $35,000. They are brand new. They're not old-fashioned Civil War guns. They're reconstructions, so they're perfectly safe to fire. But for reasons that are very obvious, we're kind of excited about firing this a little bit more this weekend. So you guys are getting to see the first ones. Any questions at all yet? What they'll do now to fire the gun is they're going to go through a very deliberate series of moves. First, they're going to stick what's called the worm down the barrel and search the gun. What that means is they're going to try to find any foreign objects down the tube. You don't want to accidentally shoot something out of it. After that, they'll take a sponge that's wet, the wet sponge. They'll swab the barrel with the wet sponge, and that's to put out anything that might be on fire still. Then they'll take the dry sponge, dry out the barrel, and then they're ready to load it. The powder handler, otherwise known as the powder monkey, he always stands well back from the cannon with the extra ammunition. What he'll do is he'll walk forward, he'll hand the piece to one of the gun handlers, which he's doing now. They'll take the charge and they'll put it in the muzzle of the barrel. He's going to insert it. Then they're going to ram it down, just like you see on the movies, like the pirates do it. They ram it down. Why do they do that? They're taking the charge and ramming it all the way to the breech. The breech is the end of the barrel, all the way at the end. Okay, what's at the end? There's a touch hole. The vent. We call it the vent. They'll take the brick, they'll pierce the bag. Then they'll
Get back.
after they do that, they'll typically either take a goose quill or porcupine quill full of black powder, insert it into the tube, and then it's ready to fire. Today I think they're going to use either, they're going to use loose powder. You heard the Civil War soldiers firing their muskets. What you can also do with those charges is loose black powder. You can rip one of those open, pour the loose black powder down the vent, and that'll work just as well as a quill. When they're ready, that sailor you see standing there, pretty far from the ocean, he'll take the slow match. That's a piece of rope that's burning very slowly on the end. He'll touch it to the vent, and it'll fire. Yes, sir. At your command, sir. Okay, get ready, folks.
Ready. Fire.
That was a slightly lighter charge. I think when you hear the Napoleon going off, you're going to notice a big difference. I guarantee you it'll be a little loud.
Are we going to fire one and then switch?
Switch over to the... Okay. Yeah.
Clean and secure, then we're going to move.
Okay, he's searching the gun. Even if they're not going to fire it again, they do this every time. It's a very deliberate process. Do it the exact same way every single time. That way, you won't go home being known as lefties. Because even though we're firing blanks, okay, that's a lot of powder and you can really hurt somebody. One of the biggest dangers is when you ram it down, if there's something burning down there still, it might touch you off, so you're going to launch that rammer, probably with a couple fingers too.